Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking about two day two corner targets. The two corners from Georgia, Tyson Campbell and Eric Stokes. I'll start with a little background on them first. Campbell is a 6'2", 185-pound junior, former five-star recruit out of high school, who actually went to high school with Patrick Surtain. So that's a pretty terrifying duo. He competed in the 100-meter, 200-meter, and high jump in high school. Pro Football Focus currently has him as a second-round grade on him, and their 52nd ranked prospect overall. The Draft Network is a little bit lower on him. They have him as their 75th ranked prospect. For what it's worth, I have a third round grade on him. Then, of course, Stokes is Pro Football Focus's 86th ranked prospect with a fourth round grade. But he's the Draft Network's 41st ranked prospect and has a second round grade from me. Stokes is 6'1", 185, so just a tad shorter than Campbell. But he was just a three-star recruit coming out of high school, where he also played on offense, fielded kick returns, and also ran the 100 and 200 meters in track. Now, I never jump into the numbers before film because I feel like that's cheating. If we're all stuck to the YouTube highlights or their best games, we would have played or we'd have graded all these guys very, very well. But, I've watched the film, so I'm going to give you the numbers first. And in 2020, Stokes allowed 50% of the passes thrown his way to be completed, giving up just 145 yards and one touchdown while picking the ball off four times. And the passer rating of quarterbacks who tested Stokes was just 43.6. The reason I'm bringing up these stats is because it's where I begin to align with the Draft Network and not Pro Football Focus, who likes Campbell more. Because Campbell gave up 65% completion rate, allowed 340 yards and five touchdowns, and a passer rating of 114.4. Now, to me, that's just a red flag on evaluation because you have one guy who got beat pretty bad at the college level, and he's ranked higher than someone who really did not. So that's kind of surprising. So, we have to dive into the film now, and two things that I want to mention briefly before we get into it. That they both have in common. One is that they were both asked to blitz the quarterback multiple times. They didn't get home too often, but they were asked to blitz. So I think Stokes had one hit on Mac Jones, and then I think he had another hit on the Tennessee quarterback. They're also both not really great tacklers, though, and that's a huge knock on them. They're not as willing a tackler as someone like a J.C. Horn or an Asante Samuel Jr. All right, so let's dive into this film. So, the first play features something I'm kind of worried about with Campbell, and that's getting beat over the top. He supposedly had this great speed, this track speed and burst, but here, he gets roasted by Waddle. So I'll try to play the clip and then kind of talk about it. So bear with me. You get the idea. Point is, he scores a touchdown, a 90-yard or some odd 90-yard touchdown here. No, he should be taking the cross and not sticking with his original assignment here. He shouldn't be following that guy over here. And he starts to do that, and before he realizes it's too late, you can't be late with Jalen Waddle. So he gets beat for 90 yards. And actually, against Alabama, he gave up 160 yards, I believe, which is not good. But when you notice something like that, him getting beat over the top like that, you want to at least, maybe it's just a one-time fluke. You want to find some other proof on film to see this happen often, at least some support for your theory, because, with his supposed speed and height, he just shouldn't really be getting beat like that. Maybe it was just one bad play, maybe because of a bad decision, and, you're covering Jalen Waddle, so you're due to get burnt a couple of times. So now you roll to his Florida tape, and he gets beat over the top once again. And really nothing particularly special, from the outside receiver, other than maybe hand fighting. It's very hard to see in this all 22 footage. I actually think the YouTube footage is a little bit better for some of these games, but we'll get demonetized. So let's not do that. So we're sticking to all 22. Trask really drops a dime here. There's just no ball skills from Campbell here. He panics. He grabs the receiver, gets a flag and still gives up the touchdown. And the problem is that Florida had no problem doing it again. And it's not like Campbell's guarding Tony or Pitts here. The hesitation from the receiver here is just enough to make Campbell hesitate. And then he gives up the outside and is beat over the top by it's another good throw and catch. I'll give it that. Sometimes something Stokes does that I haven't shown here is, use the boundary to his advantage, where he will force the receiver, to cut down on the space that he operates. And then, and often the opposing receiver only has a foot to operate between, him and the sideline. And sometimes he goes out of bounds. You see that in the Tennessee game, again, this is another good play from Trask in Florida, but he's getting beaten deep and he's not showing the ball skills that you want. If you're supposedly fast and tall, you want to be able to make just some kind of play here. And the next play is against Tennessee, where you see the exact same issues. This sideline view isn't great. Sorry. So just wait for the end zone view. So I'll just play it through. But he's at the bottom of your screen here. Again, it's not like anything particularly special, but you think someone with Campbell's size and speed should be able to cover this a lot better. And it shouldn't be the fourth play that I've shown you in a row, right? He's not even positioned to make a play here. Now, in this same game, right here is Stokes at the top of your screen, or not the top of your screen, but the guy with the arrow. He's going to demonstrate some of the ball skills that I wasn't seeing from Campbell. Because remember, both these corners are track stars and they can keep up with guys, but Stokes plays the ball better, and gets his head around. One more look. Now, okay, I have to be pretty candid about Stokes here. There's a pretty significant knock on him for being too handsy and too grabby. Personally, I'm of the let them play camp, barring egregious behavior, of course. And in this case, I just think both guys are fighting for the football and both are given equal opportunity to get this ball. So, look, moving forward, I'm going to praise Stokes for his play on the ball, but just know I am aware of these issues. Now, the next play is from 2019. I believe it's at the top of your screen here, against a guy you may know called Jamar Chase. Granted, I don't think this is a perfect ball from Joe Burrow. I do think a perfect ball could have beat him. And Stokes was initially beat, but the recovery to catch up, get into position, turn your head around, and then jar the ball loose, I don't think that should be overlooked. And again, this is 2019. As much as I want to just look at these corners in 2020, you have to do look back a little bit and see where they were at. And you can see some of these ball skills back then, just like you have in the previous play at Tennessee from 2020. Okay, so the next subset of plays I want to look at are just these shorter routes because, look, Campbell's initially beat on this play, but he does a really good job punching the football and jarring the ball loose with his outside arm. But the next few plays, he is beat across the middle. Hold on one sec. Back it up. So what you'll see here is the receiver does a really good job selling the outside with his outside foot, right? See if I can pause at the right time. Okay, I kind of missed it there. But you can see that he steps really hard with his outside foot in that wide step. So while Campbell is picking up his left foot, the receiver has already planted his left foot to now drive inward and right inside of Campbell now. And then he cuts in for a nice 15-yard gain. And at the top of the route, the receiver makes a really solid 90-degree cut while Campbell kind of rounds his and, goes from right behind him to, 3 yards off of him. And on this next play, you'll see the Alabama wide receiver. I can't tell these guys' numbers, so I'm just going to call them the Alabama wide receivers. He actually plants hard inside and sprints outside to force Campbell to chase him. And then he's just way better at sinking his hips and coming back to the ball. And Campbell just has no chance. You start to see that Campbell has these issues with these short twitch moments, whether it be, cutting and running with the in route or being able to sink like here, change direction and get back to the football like the receiver does. So he goes from, decent coverage to way off because he can't make those twitch moves. And then here's another play, giving the catch over the middle. Previously, he knocked the ball out. On another play like this, he knocked the ball out, but here he just gives up the catch over the middle once again. So better coverage, but he just couldn't get his hands on the ball. Being sticky and being close like this, I think is just where Stokes excels a little bit more. This is where I think he has an edge. And this is from 2019. Again, this LSU game's from 2019. And I just think he's I think Stokes has gotten better, but once again, he's covering Jamar Chase here. So, Stokes he's a very difficult guy to shake. You know, once again, he's covering Chase like glue. It looks like Chase's shadow. Going wherever he goes. Same thing here. Oops. Again, Stokes is at the top of your screen and just covering him, running almost the exact same route with him. Yeah, he can get a little bit grabby, but he also doesn't really have to be. And I think, part of his physical nature, prevents receivers from separating easily. And then one more play against Alabama here. Again, same idea, same mirror. And when you mirror guys, so here's kind of bringing it home now. When you mirror guys so well, you can also make plays on the football. And that's where I think Stokes shines. Stokes was targeted 28 times in 2020 and had either an interception or a pass defended 6 of those times, which means every 4 or 5 snaps, this guy is getting his hand on the football. And that's what you see here. He's you're not going to see him for a little bit. He's going to come from the right side of the screen. But just being close enough to get your hands on that football and force that incompletion. Same deal here. He's physical, which you'll see he throws off the timing of the route just a little bit. And then it's very hard to see, but I believe he uses his left arm when the ball is thrown high to jar that ball loose. Let's see if we can watch it one more time. I know it's very tough to watch on the all 22, but just enough there, right? So when you're sticky, you can knock those balls away, and when you can knock those balls away, you could also be in a position to make interceptions. This next play isn't really as much on Stokes' coverage as much as it is a bad ball and a bad decision and a throw off the back foot. But hey, being in position is still being in position. And that's something I think that Stokes has. And that's just his general coverage awareness. And we'll get to some more of that in a moment. Right? I think I had an arrow there, but he's right here. I'll get one more look at it. Just being in position to make that key play. And if you think that's just a fluke because it was a bad throw, it's really not, because this next play against Alabama, I think is really eye-opening for me. These next 2 plays really show off his coverage awareness. Now, because of this all 22, I can't tell if he gets his hand on the ball here or not, but if the ball were not overthrown, I think he could have easily knocked it down. And what you're going to see is he's going to retreat from his spot down at the bottom of your screen and then work almost back like a free safety to get in front of Smith to make position to make a play on the football. And then, of course, finally here, I got to finish on another coverage awareness play, because he'll actually be lined up on a receiver here before reading the eyes of the quarterback and then breaking off his guy. And then and I think that just general awareness and that smarts, whether it's film, whether it's just pure instincts and reactions, whether it's just burst and speed, I think you really saw that pay off with the Rams. I can't remember which game it was, but that when that Rams corner jumped the route and had that pick 6, that's kind of, it's not like this, but it kind of is. You just have that awareness, you make the play, touchdown for your defense. So, if you can't tell, I'm more of a Stokes fan than a Campbell fan. If we're purely, talking about draft position, I have a feeling the Chargers, I have a feeling Stokes won't be where the Chargers pick, but Campbell will. I'm not really, if Stokes is there, I'm kind of for it. If Campbell is there in the second round, I am not taking him there. But anyway, that's it for me today. So I hope you enjoyed a quick breakdown of the 2 corners. Please leave a good old, like and a comment. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, because there are 3 of us sending out these videos almost every day of the week. And the other 2 guys are much better than I am at this. So anyway, so long, farewell. I'll be to say goodbye and bolt up.